Could you tell us a little bit more about the app? Maybe disclosing revenue numbers, if you're comfortable with that, just about how
Yeah.
you built it, how you got the inspiration for it, and maybe how you marketed it and grew it in the early stages and right now as well. So many different ways to go down this. I guess just to appeal to all the nerds watching this video, what's your tech stack that you use to build it with? Could you give a little bit more about some insight into why you chose that path rather than burning the bridges, quitting the day job, going all in on yourself? Maybe some pros and cons that come with it as well. In today's video, we're going to be chatting with a friend of mine whose name is Yoni. He's a software engineer, an app builder, as well as content creator on the internet. And in this video, we dive into a lot of different topics, such as how he started off building out his own apps and how he grew them, breaking down his strategy to going viral on websites like Reddit, Product Hunt, as well as X. It's a jam-packed conversation where we cover a lot of different topics and a lot of useful information for anyone that's out there trying to build your own app or trying to build in public and create a social media following to market your app as well. And we're going to dive into all of these topics right after this quick message from the sponsor of today's video. You know, while we're talking about the grind of building a business, let's be honest about something that trips up almost every single entrepreneur out there. You look at your calendar and it is completely packed. You're in back-to-back meetings, you're drowning in emails, and at the end of the day, you feel like you've been busier than ever, but also way more unproductive. If you're like most founders who spend 60% of their time on menial tasks like emails and coordination instead of that deep focused work that actually grows your business, then you need to check out the Entrepreneur's Time Mastery Framework, a new resource from the team at The Hustle and HubSpot Media. Here's why this is so relevant to our discussion today. If you're serious about building your business, you have to protect your single most valuable asset. And it's not your money, but it's your focused attention. This framework is a system designed to help you reclaim control of your schedule and amplify your impact without burning out. And what I love about this resource is how actionable it is, because it's not just theory. It actually gives you the mental models and daily routines that successful founders use. One of my favorites is the calendar audit technique from Sean Puri from My First Million. You literally take a screenshot of your calendar and color code your commitments, green for things that give you energy and red for soul-sucking ones. Sean's advice is to then figure out how to slowly remove the red from your calendar, and it sounds really simple, but it's a really powerful way to see where your time is actually going. And the framework is packed with stuff like this, from President Eisenhower's matrix for deciding what to do, delegate or delete, to the big thing, first thing principle, which is a principle for making sure your most important work gets done first. Each section comes with actionable frameworks that you can implement immediately into your workflow. And the best part is that this resource is entirely free, so if you're ready to stop being busy and start being productive, then grab this framework using the link in the description down below. And once again, thanks again to HubSpot for providing these free resources and for sponsoring this portion of the video. Yoni, thanks for coming by, chatting. We're gonna catch up a little bit, and I think we're gonna have a good conversation. So super excited to get into it, man.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me on, Thomas.
Yeah, of course. So why don't we start off? Can you just give a quick intro about yourself to the listeners right now?
Totally. My name's Yoni. The way that we met is that I post videos, short form videos on social media. So I have a page on Instagram, and my shtick is that I post a video every day. And it's like a mini little vlog, devlog, day in the life. I think of it as a low production quality TV episode of my life as a scrappy entrepreneur. And so I've been doing this now for 447 days in a row. I just post a video every day. That's the thing. Through that effort, built up a bit of a following. I had a different business at the time, e-commerce. Then I launched a consumer mobile app called Brainrot. The app did decently well, and now I'm working on growing that app. So that's the story.
Awesome. So I think this you're a really interesting person. Hop on this video, podcast, whatever people would want to call it, just because, you know, the vast majority of the people that watch this type of content on my YouTube channel, they're all software developers, primarily software developers that are trying to build apps. And my biggest shtick that I think a lot of my audience also resonates with is the fact that I've always been holding down my 9-to-5 job, my day job, and always making content on the side, building apps on the side. And you're doing a similar thing as well. So,
Totally.
And one of the biggest things that often people say to me is like, oh, but bro, like, well, your biggest advantage is you just have such a big audience, dude. And like, you started back in 2020, 2021, and it took you so long to build an audience. Like, not everybody has that, right? But you're in a similar situation, but in a very different situation as well, because you didn't start many years ago. You started like 400 something days ago, like you just mentioned. So I just feel like right now, especially for like app builders, developers, I think founder-led marketing is so niche, like so in vogue right now. Can you tell a little bit more about how you built up that initial following and just how you got started building your own personal brand on social media?
Totally. So why did I start making videos every day? In part because it was super scary and intimidating to me. Every time I would be on the camera, if somebody else was recording, I would feel like super robotic and uncomfortable, you know, whatever it was, especially holding up a camera and talking into it, looking yourself in the eyes in a selfie camera, it's like, it's tough, right? And I knew I wanted to overcome that. They call it cringe mountain or whatever it is. I knew I wanted to overcome this activation energy. And a big part of why I wanted to do it was inspired by somebody on Twitter called Peter Levels. And Peter Levels, he's kind of like the king of the solopreneurs. This guy has like a small portfolio of bootstrapped software product. And he makes, I think, in total like 300K a month across this suite of products. And the reason that he's able to do that is because A, he's a great marketer and a great builder, but also because he has a personal following. And on Twitter, he has 700,000 followers, which is a lot of followers on Twitter. And so anytime he comes up with a new idea, he can just launch it to his audience. He has built-in distribution. He famously launched this little fly.peter.com, which was like a very simple, low quality airplane flight simulator. And it made like 70K in the first month. And, it's not because it's such a great flight simulator. It's because he has built-in distribution for his product. So I was largely inspired by this guy, super afraid of making videos and, super cringy. So I just made a new Instagram account last summer. Now it's August, so like just over a year ago. I made a new Instagram account, didn't tell anyone, didn't tell my friends, didn't tell my family. I'm just like, I want to see if I can overcome this cringe. And I just started posting videos of, just talking into the camera, whatever it was. It wasn't a big thought out thing. I didn't have a grand plan of what's today's video going to be, what's tomorrow's video going to be. I had 0 followers, so there's no risk. And I started posting videos. And it took a while, in truth, for it to pick up traction. There's a lot of noise and randomness in the algorithm. So like something may go viral and you can't really explain why it happened. My first video to go viral was day 19. So it took less than 3 weeks, which is unusual, but it was a video of me talking about how I put an offer on a house, an investment property on the other side of the country. Yeah, I would just talk about whatever, it's not just talking about software. I talk about whatever's in my life or what's on my mind or, whatever it might be. So I told this story about how I put an offer on a house. I never bought a house before. I don't really know what I'm doing, but the only way to do it is to try. Right, something to this effect. And the video went viral, 100,000 views, whatever it was. And at the time, I had 57 followers or something like this. So I got 1,000 or 2,000 new followers. And all of these 100,000 views, the vast majority were 65-year-old women and older. It was like all older women for whatever reason. And all the comments were like, you remind me of my grandson. That's so cute. Where's your house? Whatever it was. Random, the algorithm, it just serves it to whoever reacts to it the best. So in that case, my audience demographics now, it's like 95% men. But at the time, it was 95% women, and they were all older women. So that's like kind of the randomness of the algorithm. Over time, different videos sort of outperformed others as I told various stories, but that was how it started, funny enough.
Yeah. And now it's grown to a pretty substantial size. And I'm sure that's helped with some of the distribution for your app, Brainrot, like you mentioned. So I'm going to jump forward and also jump back a little bit as well. But jumping forward a little bit, could you tell us a little bit more about the app? Maybe disclosing revenue numbers, if you're comfortable with that, just about how you built it, how you got the inspiration for it, and maybe how you marketed it and grew it in the early stages and right now as well.
Totally. So I can even pull it up and show you what this thing looks like. Brainrot is a super simple concept. It's a screen time app that shows a little cartoon of a brain that rots the more time you spend on your phone. So it's like a visual kind of representation of your brain. On the given day, you have like a calendar showing your historic brain rot, and that's the premise. And you can set up rules to block different apps. And when you try to open those apps, it doesn't let you into them. So it's a screen time control app and app blocker. That's the premise. I built it to solve a problem that I was having in my life as a content creator. You get super sucked in. I mean, consumers get sucked into the social media apps because you're scrolling and infinite feeds and all this, but creators get sucked in the apps too because you get dopamine hits from notifications and from likes and comments and follows. So there's always some notifications to be checking, and I would just became chronically deeply online. And I could have, of course, downloaded a screen time app. There are plenty, but I was looking for my next project, and so I just decided I'll build one myself. So that was the premise. I spent a couple of months building it using these AI coding tools, Cursor, and then Windsurf, and then Claude Code. 2 months was probably too long. I'd like built it and then scrapped it and then rebuilt it. Honestly, you don't need 2 months to build an app nowadays, especially not an MVP, but that's what I spent like 2 months, and then I got rejected from the App Store 6, 7, 8 times because they love to reject you for various things. And meanwhile, throughout this whole process, there's no product launched yet, there's no revenue, but I'm sharing the story. And the stories are going viral because it's like, I just got rejected from the App Store for the 6th time. And it's like the business doesn't exist yet, but that video got 1.8 million views or whatever it is. So it's like this shows the value of founder-led content is that, you can pre-sale, you can build hype, you can tell the story in its raw, authentic form because you are the story. There's a business being built. There's a story to to be followed. So that was the approach I took. The launch went well. Probably first day was like a few thousand downloads. Then I launched on Product Hunt. It's like a known online tech product launching website. That went crazy well, with like 15, 20,000 downloads in one day. The reason
Wow.
was because this is a little bit of alpha for the viewers. Product Hunt, every day there's like a few hundred products that launch, and it's hard to rank number one in the world. There's a lot of people launching every day. You need to get probably, depending on the day, somewhere between 400 to 1,000 upvotes on that website. And for people to upvote, they need to go in and make an account and whatever. So there's friction there. So if you have a bunch of followers and you like really spam them, please upvote, maybe you can get there. But what really helped in my case, and I didn't know this until afterward, every morning they send out an email and it's like, hey guys, it's like a Product Hunt daily newsletter. Hey guys, these are some of the interesting projects that are launching today. And randomly they found my project and they made the subject line of that email of the day, cure your brain rot. And the whole top
Wow.
of that email was like my image banner. And they like they spotlight 3 products, and mine was the first one. So like the intro paragraph, the subject line, and the whole first spotlight was all about me. It looked like they wrote an email about me and they sent that out in the morning. I scheduled the launch the day before. And then when I go to look in the morning, 7, 8 a.m., I'm number 3 or number 4 in the world. And then just with a little bit of, posting about it, I got it 3, 2, 1 and closed the day at the top. And then they send
Wow.
out like a weekly newsletter. And because I was in the top handful of the week, they sent out another email. Yeah. And I probably did $10,000 of revenue just from Product Hunt because they gave me a little bit of attention. So that was awesome. In total, now Brainrot's done about 40,000 in revenue. It's been like less than 3 months, which is awesome, and all of it, for the most part, I haven't cracked organic distribution strategies. I don't have clipping farms. I don't have influencer relationships. It's just been me. So it shows the value. Of course, I spent 447 days or whatever it was, a year and change doing it. But those days are going to pass whether you like it or not. So if you can find the time, 30 minutes, 40 minutes in your day to make a quick video, in some cases it can serve you.
So many different ways to go down this. I guess just to appeal to all the nerds watching this video, what's your tech stack that you use to build it with?
Yeah, so I just wrote it in Swift, just iOS native. It's a screen time app, so I needed these screen time APIs. There are
Mhm.
third-party wrappers for those screen time APIs. So if you want to use a framework like React Native or Flutter, I think that developers have wrapped this screen time API with some libraries. But the screen time API itself, for the developers who maybe are interested or listening, has tons of bugs. It's very famously super difficult to work with. And all the screen time apps that exist, the big heavy hitters in the space, all of their engineering efforts are done in smoothing over all the bugs in the actual core internal API. So I didn't want to go and use third-party wrappers of things and then like have to deal with layers of bugs. So I just wrote it in Swift. And honestly, I'm a kind of chronic side hustler. I've launched dozens of failed products. I don't like over-engineering things. Most likely BrainRot was going to fail. So I don't want to make it cross-platform compatible and make an Android app and make an iOS app. And it's probably, it's just mostly me getting the reps in. So I just figured, okay, I'll build iOS. I have an iPhone. I'm solving a problem for myself. And that's why I chose Swift.
Yeah, I think it's one of those things. I mean, I fell into the same trap when I built my first mobile app. It's like I'm planning for the end game scenario where I'm like, oh my god, I need to support 1 million users across like desktop and Android and iOS. I got to use React Native, create shared code that I can use with React Web and all that stuff. But at the end of the day, I think that was the mistake that I made on my end. And now moving forward, if I were to build another mobile app, I'll just go straight to iPhone. Not only because it makes the engineering easier. I mean, I think it's pretty famously known. I believe you made a video on your own Instagram profile as well that like more purchasers come from iOS compared to Android. So it's like you have a much better ROI investing effort into iOS compared to Android. And also at the end of the day, it's one of those things where it's like if your app is so popular that people are begging for it to be on Android, that's a great problem to have. And you can cross that bridge
Totally.
when you get to it.
100%. Yeah. Pretty famously, it's 80-20 split for apps that have both between iOS and Android. I get a lot of comments. I have a wait list for Android of thousands of people. And it's just
Oh,
frankly not my priority because first of all, there's all sorts of different Android phones, different screen sizes, resolutions, and you have to handle for all that. It's a huge pain. There's of course more Android users, but apps like Duolingo last month made $40 million in iOS and they made 10 million in Android. They get way
wow.
more downloads in Android, but they make less revenue. It's about 4-1. So,
Yeah.
Pareto principle, if you're going to spend, 80-20 rule, just focus on the things that really move the needle.
Yeah, definitely. And I also like your launch strategy as well about you did that founder led marketing. You didn't just launch it that day of and like let it happen. Like you built up that hype like going into it. And honestly, I do think chances are like, yes, at the time when you posted that series and made this app, you already had a pretty substantial following. But I mean, I often like think that really good viral content, it'll go viral regardless of how big or how small your account really is. Like maybe to certain like lesser degrees or stuff like that. But I think
Totally.
there's like such a valuable lesson there as well about how you built up that hype with that really juicy hook of my app got rejected from the app store. Whoa, what the heck, you know? And like I feel like other developers, even if they're really early in their journey, they don't have a huge presence on the internet, but as long as they're just doing and getting these reps in of founder-led marketing, talking about their process of building stuff, like this is such a great way to build hype. Maybe the waitlist wouldn't be as long as yours, but I'm sure you could still, even if you're like a new, way smaller account, you could still get a couple tens, if not hundreds of signups ready to start using your app, you know?
For sure. And,
Yeah.
it's like when I started building the app, I had maybe 80,000 followers, which is a lot. That was after a year of daily posting. But, it took me a few months to build it. And in that, I'm telling stories about I'm having these issues. Or today I realized I have a problem in my life that a simple app could help me fix. So I sat down and started evaluating the feasibility of that app. That video got a bunch of views. I got a bunch more followers. So between starting to build and actually launching, my account doubled. It went from 80,000 to 160,000. So it's like, don't wait until the app is finished and perfect and has no bugs. My app still has bugs. I'm not super proud of it as a software engineer. Like, there's always you're going to be your harshest critic. So you wait till something's perfect. It's like you can keep waiting, it's never going to happen. So
So real. So real. I know one thing that is interesting as well. I don't know if you mentioned it, and also we don't have to include this if you don't want to, but like you are also working a full-time day job while doing content on the side and building an app on the side. Similar to me, although for those of you that are watching this video, chances are my other video has already come out, but I'm actually going all in and betting on myself right now. Exciting times. But it seems like it used to be kind of rare for these types of people to exist where you still had the day job and hustling on the side. The typical founder meta was you got to go all in, burn the bridges, yada yada yada. But could you give a
totally.
little bit more about some insight into why you chose that path rather than burning the bridges, quitting the day job, going all in on yourself? Maybe some pros and cons that come with it as well.
For sure. Yeah. So this is one of my strongest held beliefs, and you're gonna find a lot of noise on the internet of people telling you what you just said, which is burn the bridges, burn the boats, go all in. Diamonds are created under pressure. There are all these little, sayings about it, and that's great. But this is like influencer guru hype on your feed. This has no practical implications in like how you're gonna pay your rent. People have families to feed. Like, thankfully, we're young. We don't have kids yet, but some people have kids, right? They have mortgages. They take care of their parents. Like, you can't just quit, right? You need some kind of income. And frankly, if you can't do it, or rather, if you can do it on the side, then you can do it full time. I guarantee that your job is not the thing that's stopping you from reaching your goals. Unless you have some kind of investment banking, it's 100 hours a week, some kind of unusual circumstances, and you have a plan, I have funding, whatever it is. Okay, it's a different story, but funding and bootstrapping is two totally different worlds. But yeah, like there's so many lessons that you can learn as an entrepreneur on the side. And these are lessons that you're going to need to learn one way or another. So, I think it depends on people's risk appetite. Some people, maybe you're very young and you're happy to take a few years without income. It's fine. In reality, this is a two-way door. If you quit your job, you can get a different job for the most part, maybe slightly lower salary. Maybe you need to move to a different city, whatever it is. So it's not the end of the world if you're really itching and you're really unhappy. Okay, you can leave your job and go take a swing at it. But if you're not miserable, there's so many learnings that you need to learn one way or another. So you might as well start learning them now.
Totally. I totally agree with that. It's one of those things where it's like if any of your friends were to quit their day job and be like let's say you have a friend, full-time job, out of nowhere, they're like, I want to become a professional athlete. You would think that they're crazy because it's like you do not have the skill set to do that. And I feel like software engineers in particular, a lot of them, myself included in the very beginning, had an incorrect mindset thinking that coding is all that it takes to build a business, to build a startup. But I'm sure that you can attest to this as well. But that is just like a tiny, like it is important, don't get me wrong. It's becoming easier nowadays with all the AI tools out there that are coming out. But building the app was never, in my opinion, truly the hard
Not
part.
really. 100%.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So it's like
for sure.
if
I
you
think it's
want
very
it, if you
popular
want it
now.
bad
Yeah.
enough. Oh yeah, sorry, go on.
Yeah, I was saying I think it's very popular now to cosplay as a founder. It's a hot, sexy thing to do. Shark
Hmm.
Tank is mainstream media. Like, it's cool to be a founder, but you just need to be very careful. I've seen people quit their job in some sort of, vague pursuit of ambitions, and then they spiral because they lose their place in society. When somebody asks you, who are you? What do you do? Most people say what their job is. This is sort of your root of where you are kind of in society. And then if you're just a founder, but your apps aren't working, it might take you 30, 40 apps and all the learnings associated before something works. So, that can be a really tough and dark road if you don't have any kind of, employment or means of income.
Totally. I feel like there's also so many. I'm not gonna like at people specifically, but I definitely see so many like influencers, content creators on the internet that, like what you said, they're cosplaying as founders. Like they're doing this. I'm on a journey to build a startup, and they'll just build like a tiny MVP version of the app. But there's like they truly don't have any real. They actually don't have ambition to grow and scale that app. They're kind of just doing it for like this content series sake, you know.
For
So
sure.
I would also say like there's so many people out there on the internet that they look like a cracked out founder because they're just pumping out 50 billion apps left and right. I know, my friends know, a lot of other people that there are people that look like this on the internet that they look so gangster because they're pumping out apps out like crazy. They do like $0 in revenue. They can't get users. Their whole brand is just making these apps and then they die without any real users or usage, and they just don't document the actual behind the scenes of what it's like to grow that app, you know?
Totally. And this guy, Peter Levels, whatever, he has a small portfolio of apps now that do quite well. He, I think, famously has like a 97% failure rate or something to this effect, like 3%. He has a big
Mm.
laundry list of startups and websites that he's tried and failed. And he did a sort of publicity stunt and challenge called 12 startups in 12 months. And he did this before Cursor existed. He did this 10 years ago. And at the time, you kind of had to be sharp as a builder to be able to pull something like that off, ship a new thing every 30 days. He got something like halfway through before his first product
Mm.
had legs, and he went all in on it. But now with Cursor and Claude Code and all these tools, people are doing 30 startups in 30 days, and they're
Yeah.
shipping a new app every day. And
It's
maybe it's
insane.
good for getting the reps in, but this is mostly slop. This is
Yeah.
garbage, I think, for the most part.
One thing I wanted to mention as well, or bring up, is the fact that I think a lot of founders are one big thing that I talked about, probably my most viewed video on my entire YouTube channel. I think it's at 1 million views now. But like the big thing I talk about is that if you are a bootstrap founder or you're a founder that's earlier on in journey, or in general, just like I think any founder really like you do not have to reinvent the wheel. You should just build something that already has proven market validation, like proven customers that are willing to put up money and pay for it. And I think that's kind of what you did as well. Like I don't think you would ever say that you built the first ever like screen time productivity management app, but clearly you're still able to grow it and scale it and do pretty well. I guess in your opinion, was that a strategic decision? Did you know that going into it? I guess what was your mindset going into it, and what do you think like across the sea of so many different apps that kind of do the same thing, how did you stand out from the noise?
Yeah, it's a great question. So I get a lot of comments of people wondering the same, which is why would you build something in a crowded space? There's a lot of productivity apps, there's a lot of screen time focus apps. What makes you think that you could compete in the niche? And I don't think about it like this at all. I mean, to your point, if there's a proven framework, if there's a proven business model, there's some market demand, just enter the ring. There's enough room for the 18 of you. The internet is infinitely large. And also nowadays, distribution strategy is you need to go, I mean, for the most part, this is my distribution strategy. You need to find people through these social platforms and show them your product. And these people are scrolling and they're going to stumble into your video. You're going to entice them in some kind of way with an ad or some reference to your product. And they're going to click a link in your bio, or they're going to go look it up in the App Store. And in that process, they are not going to evaluate you against the list of alternatives, right? You got their attention. You showed them your cool app. They were scrolling mindlessly, and you had some kind of snappy hook or whatever, a good video, and they're going to go download your app. And now your app just needs to be viable in that like unit economics. You need to convert that individual in the flow of your app or whatever it might be. They're going to click on your link. They're going to go to the App Store, to your landing page. They're going to see your screenshots in the App Store. They're going to click download. They're going to go through your onboarding. That's where you sell them. And they are not evaluating you against the market. So, I think in the specific case of screen time, everybody has a iPhone addiction nowadays. People are deeply, deeply, obsessed with their phones. So I think it will be a growing category. I don't know that I'll make my career off of screen time productivity tools, but I probably could. I know the guys who made an app called Opal, which is the largest
Yeah.
iOS screen time app. It's like 600K a month. And for the record, they don't have an Android app. So there you go. It's like you don't always need
That's
an Android
crazy.
app. But yeah, so you can totally make a living in these niches. And I would not worry about competition. There's infinite number of people. There are infinite consumers as far as we're concerned. Right?
Yeah.
Once you're trying to build $1 billion company, that's where these venture capitalists are asking you questions. That's where true size of market and competition may be relevant. But for these small bootstrap lifestyle businesses, you're trying to make 5K a month, you're trying to make 20K a month. Like, dude, there's room in the US economy for your product for sure.
100%. 100%. I also think it's one of those things where it's like people are like, I think I've seen similar comments or other apps that I've built in the past that were like, people said, dude, that already exists. And then they're like, why would I use yours over like in your case, like why would I use BrainRot over Opal? And I think it's like I always found this funny because I feel like software is truly the only type of business where people ever ask that type of question. For like in any other business in the world, like if you were to take restaurants for example, it's like, dude, why would you go to McDonald's? You can just go to Burger King instead. It's like, I don't know, I just like it. I've grown like an attachment to it. And I think one of the
Totally.
biggest powers of founder-led marketing is oftentimes I think there's a really big possibility that in the end where software becomes so cheap to build, it's just going to be about who built it. Like who
100%.
do you
I
like the best,
completely agree with you. I completely
Yeah.
agree with you. They call it code as content now. I mean, this is like a new term that's getting created. If you can build 30 apps in 30 days and make content about it, it means that the code is about the level of complexity as it is to make a video about the code, right? You sit down in front of a vibe coding tool and you ask for this content to be created for you in plain English and it gets created. So it's like,
Yeah.
yeah, the cost of code is going to zero very
Yeah.
rapidly and everything is in distribution.
Yeah,
100%.
definitely. Definitely. Yeah. So I just feel like, for all the developers, people trying to build your first apps just to reach your first couple K of revenue, like I've said this before in my videos. Now Yoni is also reiterating this. Like, go out there and just build something that already exists and just put a slight twist to it. Like, I feel like Brainrot's biggest selling feature is the fact that the character is really cute and it's kind of its own unique
Totally.
character in the world. So I feel like a lot of people think like you need to differentiate technologically. No, I really don't think so. Like, you just need to differentiate somehow. Just don't let it be like a 100% one-to-one ripoff. Like, have something different about it that could make it more appealing for other users. And you can easily, not easily, but you can definitely make money, get users, and get paying customers for your app.
Totally. And if you're in a place where you've never shipped an app that has had users, you've never made this kind of internet revenue, even more so the point that, proof that just do this, just clone something or just, take inspiration from something that already exists, build it in some minimal form. You'll get your first customers, get a taste of this possibility. And I think that this taste is what starts that flywheel from spinning. You're going to get hooked. You're like, okay, it's possible. What if I just add this feature? What if I just launch it in a different way on a different platform? And you start moving. So action is by far the most important thing. Stop thinking the best time to start is today. It's doable. You can do this, put one foot in front
Totally.
of the other.
Yeah. It's like, hey, I made money from a corporate job. There's no money better than making internet money from an app that you built. It's unbelievable.
100%. Totally agree.
Yeah. Oh man, I think we're coming up to time, so I don't want to keep you for too long. Want to know if there's anything else you wanted to plug, anything you wanted to say before we wrap up?
No plugs, man. Thanks so much for having me. Great
Yeah.
conversation. And I hope that there's some value here for the listeners.
Yeah. Thanks so much for watching, guys. I'll include a link to BrainRot in the YouTube description and in the comments down below. Check it out. It's a beautifully designed and beautifully built app. Thanks again, Yoni, for coming on and chatting with us, man. That was great.
Thanks.